Hello everyone and welcome to the Pony Pad Podcast. I'm your host Tootsie4ever and joining me is LittleshyFIM and Turtle Pain.
Hey, Tootsie, can I see that pinky plush up there?
Sure, here you go.
Thanks.
You know, mine's actually missing from my collection. Can I borrow yours?
Yeah, sure. Here you go.
Ah, thank you. Nice. I'll have to add that to my collection up there.
Try not to get that dirty. I got that out of convention. Now then, today...
I'll give it back to you next BronyCon.
Perfect. Alright, now, this is interesting because we have had a lot of news pop up about the My Little Pony movie.
Yay, news!
Which is coming out October... What's the date?
October.
October.
It was, I think.
October,
yeah,
a couple times.
October 6th, October 6th as of this video. But, anywho, we've had a lot of stuff that just recently popped up. For an example, we've got some... It has been confirmed that there are going to be 7 songs in the My Little Pony movie, which is iffy on my part, just because 7 is kind of... No, 7 is just kind of a much, don't you think?
7's not enough.
Do the math.
No, 7
How
just
often
seems...
would that be if it's an hour long?
7 would just be... I don't know, that's probably like 15 minutes worth of show right there.
It depends on the length, I guess.
Because Magical Mystery Cure had like, I don't know, 5 songs?
That was like the whole episode, yeah.
That was.
Yeah, it was just entirely songs.
So
Now, am I bad for liking Magical Mystery Cure?
No.
I kind of like that episode.
I'm bringing this up because Magical Mystery Cure was a 30-minute episode. Or, wait, 20-minute, my bad, 20-minute episode, but actually probably about 17 without, or 17 with 11, which is just normal dialogue. But 17 minutes of the show is just music, constantly.
So, do you think the movie is going to be just one big musical, like almost all music? Or is it going to be more like a Disney movie with kind of both?
I'm just hoping it doesn't have songs that just come out of nowhere and then never addressed again. Because
like
I hate...
Equestria Girls.
Yeah.
Cue music for us to break into song.
Like, gosh. I just think
like,
that...
this is how I feel about that. Let me sing about how I feel about that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just don't think
A whole new world.
I just don't, like... as long as the songs are good, I'm fine. But that's kind of hard for me to actually like a pony song. Because I only probably like about 3 songs in the entire My Little Pony show.
I can think of a lot more than 3.
Yeah, you...
I mean, I really liked how like Rainbow Rocks kind of fit a few of the songs in there. But... that being said, the whole movie overall, it felt like just an excuse for them to say, look, we wrote songs.
Yeah, as long as they're done in a way that progresses the story, it's fine.
Well, either the story or like character development or something. Like it's especially good. Like the montage cliche is usually bad. It can
that
be
is
good,
always
hopefully,
annoying.
Yeah, hopefully there's some way to drive things forward with the song.
Definitely.
Yeah, like there's this, for instance, like there's an ad that I found, like I keep getting, it's like some anime, either service or show, but like I keep watching the intro for it. It's like a minute long, and every single scene they use is, I'm like, that's cliche.
This podcast brought to you by Crunchyroll.
Yay, Crunchyroll.
All right, another thing that just recently appeared with the 7 songs is we actually got some, I'm not sure if this is... It's not actual stuff from the show, or from, I almost said show, but from the movie, but it's sort of like their new animation style, and I will admit, it kind of looks like something from DeviantArt.
Okay, so yeah, we should definitely look at this for a moment. There is like one big glaring thing that pops out immediately, but of course the the improvements is there's like shading and lighting, not just shadows, but highlights as well. So like, how are they going to handle the shininess of their manes and stuff in like different environments?
They're very glowy and shiny.
But will it be affected by the environment? Like if they're in a dark cave or underwater, for example? Like how
No, it's going to look like someone just rubbed Vaseline on them.
Yeah.
That's all it's going to look like.
So I wonder how much of these models, I don't know anything about Toon Boom, which I think is what it's animated in. I don't know like the dynamics involved. Maybe they're like pseudo 3D for all I know. It's going to be weird, and that's all I can tell that for sure.
From what I know about
the one glaring thing I don't know how I feel is they changed their eyes for some reason. Why
Oh yeah, the eyes look super weird now. Like they're all kind of sparkly.
Yeah, wait, I don't know how I feel about that.
What's the difference?
Look, just pull up.
Look at them.
I have a picture of normal Twilight with wings and Twilight, what you probably have on screen now, and their eyes are. There's the sparkles, yeah. It's very different.
There's like sparkles in the iris of their eyes.
Well, now she's Twilight Sparkles.
What about Applejack? Is she Applejack Sparkle?
All the characters seem to have that, though. I don't know. Is that going to be animated or something? That's going to be weird.
Like we just get a ton of close-up shots on their eyes, with their eyes just.
What?
I don't know how I feel about it. And it doesn't look like it's affected by the pupil.
Yeah, no.
It's another thing that's kind of interesting is, I think you pointed out before we went live, is that Twilight does have a little bit more feathers in her wings.
Like one more. I actually counted. It's not really that.
It's only
Yeah,
one more.
of course you would count.
You counted the wings.
But I have a question. Didn't they normally have like 3 white dots in their pupils before? Now they only have 2.
No, the adult characters always had 2. It's the children, Phillies, that had 3, I think.
The one thing that does look more interesting now is sort of interesting. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Is the picture that is being popped up right now on screen of Megan McCarthy, VIP, head of storytelling. Twilight's face looks kind of odd, showing up like that, but they always.
I think it's just the angle is weird.
Yeah,
something might be different about the proportions. I think her eyes are bigger. I guess.
I think it's the eyes and the chin. She has a chin now.
The eyes are the biggest organ in a pony's body.
Yeah, definitely.
Today I learned eyes are organs.
Notice her highlight is like split. The purple highlight is split now instead of just being off to the side.
It is weird.
Oh, wow.
It's split.
Interesting.
Lots of little details here to pick apart. I'm curious, and I feel bad because we can't really comment on this, but I want to hear like a professional designer's expertise about the proportions of the pony and everything, because I know the original designs by Lauren Faust were very precise. Like the head is exactly half the size of the body, the leg is exactly this amount. Everything's proportioned perfectly. So I wonder how these new designs compare in that way. I don't really know.
I actually do know a graphic designer, and I've made him watch all of My Little Pony up to season 3, and he does not like My Little Pony. Like, he doesn't hate it, but I could probably get him to, point out the exact things as to why it's odd.
You can go in both directions. One way you say, like, the show is actually very well designed, but you kind of have to point that out to someone for them to realize, oh, yeah, you're right, the head is exactly whatever size.
Yeah.
But then the other end of the spectrum is Equestria girls. It's obvious their legs are too long. Anybody can tell that.
Oh, yeah.
So the movie falls somewhere closer to the show, which is a good sign, of course.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I want to hear an expert's opinion on that.
Good design usually isn't really noticeable to like the general public. So bad design is usually pretty noticeable.
Maybe it's a sign. It is good design if I don't notice anything.
We can't really comment more on the style of it, considering we haven't seen any full motion. We haven't seen any motion. We haven't got any trailer as of this video. But
as of this recording,
it is important to point out that all what we're looking at now is all like concept and promotional art, which could be vastly different from the show, from the movie.
This is like looking at a beta or an alpha for a game.
Like
we can't tell anything.
The movie could be using real horses for all we know.
Definitely more detail and such, though. That much is obvious.
But
I want the movie to be in 4K.
It definitely looks like something.
Nice.
Like when I first saw these image pop up, I thought it was obviously someone from DeviantArt, something from DeviantArt.
Well, that's the thing. Like, how does the show develop a new style?
Because like almost
every style has been made by the fans already.
I know.
Every conceivable style has already been envisioned by DeviantArt.
I just imagine Hasbro or whoever the lead animator, director are to choose the style for it, just like picking all these fanmations, putting them on a dartboard and closing his eyes and then just throwing a dart. We'll go with that style.
Oh, we got the super abstract art style again.
Based on just these initial images we have, again, this podcast was probably recorded long ago before we saw any footage. So we saw no animated footage of any sort just yet. But I do want to point out, actually, it's easy to pick apart and say, oh, their eyes look weird. No, I wonder about the proportions. But the one thing I don't think enough people will talk about is how they are pretty darn close to the show, even though they're using a whole different animation thing, program, whatever. For example, their outlines are the same color. They are the same color. I think their cutie marks are all the same.
But I think.
I just realized they don't have any outlines.
From Flash to Toon Boom, though, like I feel like the assets are probably not exactly the same and not super similar, but they're easy enough that someone who's learned Flash can apply those same skills to Toon Boom. Yeah, this coming from someone who's not an animator at all.
The most drastic differences is maybe Rainbow Dash's mane doesn't have any outlines, and their eyes and their ears. That's the only big differences I see. Her forelock doesn't have outline.
I'm looking at it and
color.
I'm not really sure how this animation style will go down.
But they look more like the 4DE plushies than anything.
I want to know is we can see how they're looking at this image, but how are they going to move? Is the animation going to be this?
It's going to be super
That's a whole
creepy
other story. So we definitely got to talk about the trailer when it hits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does Toon Boom work? Do any of us know how it works?
I think Futurama uses it.
Yeah, Futurama, which made me think that they're probably going to. I'm hoping they do this. Combine 3D animation with 2D.
Probably. That's usually how feature films go.
Yeah, it's easier to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What was I thinking? Darn thing.
It's kind of like a 2.5D sort of thing where you have all the characters at a certain angle, So it's like they're 3D already, except for you just automate the process of rotating them and stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's like almost 3D, but not really 3D. I think that's how it works.
Oh yeah, but I guess we honestly
Guys, I
won't know much until we get like trailer or a sneak peek or something like that.
Yep.
Because
I
so
think we
far,
can all agree that this is the highlight, though.
yeah, so far we're just going over the designs, so we can't really comment much on how is this part going to move. But
yeah, I'm curious how different it'll be in animated form. I don't know how different these promotional images are going to be.